Morning, it's Millie here who plays Dottie. I know sometimes it can be hard to tell with these masks on. So already this morning I've had my temperature checked upon entering the BBC building to make sure that I'm within the healthy range.
Here I am at the front gate getting tested. Go on. There we go. Nice. Alright. So I'm in the building. We've got these one-way systems. See those arrows? Lead you right down to my dressing room. Mr. Stevie Basola.
Now our costumes are kept outside our dressing rooms in these bags. They used to be put inside, but now nobody's allowed to enter our dressing rooms except for us because of hygiene. So I'm going to collect my costume and put it on. Also, the costume department write out all the details of what I've got to wear, including all my jewellery and everything, so that I'll never forget, which is really helpful. So now I'm just heading to makeup.
Hello, I'm Chris McGill and I'm a director with EastEnders. Filming today in the era of COVID-19 has a similarities to how we would film 12 months ago, and yet a great deal of complexities that we didn't have to consider. This is my first block back since EastEnders was off the air, and I remember having a conversation with John Sen, the series exec producer, about some of the techniques that they were using to get what was written on the page onto screen. Obviously, when you're reading a script through and you've got 5, 6 individuals sitting around a coffee table, every one of them eating, then what may read nicely on page doesn't instantly translate onto screen, especially when you have to keep 2 meters distance from one another, cast and crew alike.
I'm Stephen Young. I'm one of the video editors on EastEnders. When the script calls for lots of people in one room, it's obviously an issue. So the way around it is with making plates, which means the camera has to stay still, nothing must move, and the actors come in and do their bit, and we then lay those plates together. So this is one I'm particularly pleased with. This is Kelly sitting down, and actually Mick was just out of shot.
To put pressure on you.
But this just being slightly, because it's not square on, it's slightly off to one side, it's a nicer, it doesn't look like an obvious plate. I mean, the reason we do this is we've created a kind of new Walford, and people are washing their hands, and people are, and you can see those cleaning stations around, but we've created Walford as normal as possible because the drama's in people being close together.
Hey guys, so yeah, that's me ready as Dottie in my makeup. As you can see, I have to do my own makeup now because unfortunately the makeup artists aren't allowed to touch our face. But we did receive tutorials from the makeup artist wearing full PPE at the start when we came back after lockdown, so we could kind of learn the skills we need to do our character makeup. And I learned a lot from that. It's been interesting taking on that role as well. And also if we ever get stuck with anything, we can come back and then they can teach us how to do things as well. So it's been an interesting new way of working for sure. So yeah, I'm ready in my Dottie makeup to go on set.
So the biggest challenges so far for me as playing Karen, she's so tactile. So for me, it's not being able to touch people in the scenes, which is really natural for her. Even if it's just a little pat on the back, having a laugh or a hug. Now you've got to find it using other ways, in the eyes, in any other way you can find really. But it's really difficult. That's the biggest challenge. When I first got confronted with a tennis ball, I was like, how am I going to do this? Look at the tennis ball. Feel the tennis ball, connect with the eyes. It's difficult, it's really tricky because I kind of go a little bit boss-eyed when I do that. You're trying to imagine the eyes there and the face. It's better with a real person, but you just gotta go with it.
My name is Jerry and I'm a visual effects supervisor. So in the scene we've just been looking at, a couple of the characters are engaged in a kind of confrontation which involves physical violence. Now that's obviously not possible to shoot and keep them 2 meters apart. We have to shoot them separately and join the 2 shots together. We're now able to do that a lot quicker than we used to, although it still does take time and it still very much depends on how you shoot it, which is why I'm often advised, act as an advisor on set, because I can avoid a lot of the complex problems that eat up an awful lot of time in post-production. One of the bigger shots we did this year was Mick walking through the Queen Vic. Mick was suffering from depression at the time. The director wanted us to follow Mick going through the pub with people in front of him and behind him. So we did this in about, I think it was 3 or 4 passes, where we recorded different layers of people in front of and behind Mick on each pass. And the challenge there in post-production afterwards for visual effects was to actually join them together invisibly, which is actually quite difficult because you've got lots of fine detail you're having to cut around, lots of lights and stuff like that, which would look odd. So that was quite a very time-consuming shot. But in the end, we were really happy with the results, and nobody noticed they weren't the one shot, which was great.
So back in the cafe, setting up a plate shot, which is, I ain't got a clue what it is and I ain't gonna try and explain, but this is what it looks like. So that's down there, and that tennis ball, which you might be able to see right there, is meant to be me, and she's meant to be looking at me, and then now she has to move out. This would be Danielle, tennis ball.
So we use the tennis balls in place of faces. They're put exactly where the other actor's eyes would be, so it gives us exactly the right eye line to perform to. It sounds crazy, but it actually really works, and it keeps us safe, which is the most important thing. So, yeah.
So since COVID, my job has pretty much been in this room, all remotely. If you'll see on my screen is the Slater's Christmas lunch, which was one of the kind of particular challenges we had. Restrictions meant that all of those people couldn't be in the room at the same time. So they shot a clean plate with nobody in it. And then slowly they started to build up the layers of the people. So they were either on their own in the room at the same time, and the rest of the actors were in the set next door, reading stuff in so that they could play the scene just for this top shot, which of course was only ever going to be there. I think it's maybe there twice in the scene, and only for a few seconds at a time. And then other subtle things like this one, Martin looks like he's stood close, but in actual fact, it's just his shoulder that's been placed in. So those are the simple techniques that can actually be just done in the edit without being sent off to specialists to be done.
This was supposed to be our first Christmas.
Things aren't the same, but we're making it work and we're all pulling together. So yeah, it's been a great experience. I hope you're all looking after yourselves. I know how hard this lockdown's been on everyone, so keep watching the show, keep supporting and stay safe. Thank you.